Chris T. Ian, and even though I don't really like Halloween customs as they were, I decided I would dress up, and I am dressed up as the writer of the classic Christian hit Jesus Bro, Brad Jones. And from what I am told, Jesus Bro is not meant to be a satirical comedy film whatsoever. Isn't that right, Ariel? Oh. Okay then. And hello, I'm Adam Sykes of the Blockbusters show, dressed up as a phony comic book geek, complete with my my Superman brand Target shirt and my Goku hoodie I got at Old Navy. It's supposed to be the kind of guy that talks about how he loves comics, but he hasn't read a single comic or seen a single comic book movie, but thinks he knows everything about comic books. For today's film, we're going to be talking about the spiritual successor to a film that Adam and friends have looked at before, Where the Dead Go to Die. They told me I wouldn't really like the movie, so I'll take that for what it's worth. And the film we're going to be looking at today is called When Blackbirds Fly. If you know anything about my series, The Blockbusters Show, you'll know that the worst movie we ever did a video on was back when we were doing movie parodies, and it was the episode about the film called Where the Dead Go to Die. Ever since then, I've seen interviews with the director of that, and he seems like a pretty cool guy. I can respect it a lot more than Derek Savage, who, you know, tries to paint it as like, you know, oh, I make kids movies for kids with morals, and then it turns out he's a total scumbag behind the scenes. So, you know what, Mr. Screamer Claus, I give you serious props. The film takes place in a small walled-off town called Heaven, and all the citizens there, a lot of them don't believe in premarital sex. A lot of them are very religious in their customs, a very heavily religious place. What they do is they go to this place behind a church that has a bunch of flashing spirals all over the walls, and they make you eat a forbidden fruit, and then you have to cut yourself. It seems very sacrificial. And then they have to use their blood to contaminate these worm-like things that soon spawn into human children. I'm pretty sure that's not where babies come from. Our main character is a little kid, and he goes to this school where they show off all this propaganda about the leader of the town, Cain. And he befriends this girl, and if you know anything about Where the Dead Go to Die, you know this isn't going to end well. They go to the wall they keep talking about in the first half of this movie, and they go to see what's on the other side of it, and it's this woman who claims to be the evil, I forget what they call her, but she's like the evil, pure evil. It turns out that she's the devil, and they explain that she was created by God, who is apparently a human-like male body with a light bulb for a head. He created her because he wanted a woman to love, and then eventually she turned on him or something, and she was banished from heaven, so then she became Lucifer, like in the mythology. She goes down to Earth, she comes across these worm things that they showed off earlier, and they end up like turning on her, and then they turn into humans, and one of those worm creatures turned into Cain, and he decided he was going to turn against her. By the way, if we don't show a lot of footage in this review, it's mainly because there's lots of inappropriate, murderous, and sexual content. Yeah, that's why we're not going to be showing a lot of the footage from this film. And really, after that, it just turns, like, the next, like, solid half an hour or so becomes another Where the Dead Go to Die situation where, you know, there's constant flashing and seizure-inducing, just light shows all throughout, gruesome sex acts and murders and stuff going on. Just a lot of, like, really demented stuff. The little girl ends up getting captured by, like, these tentacle creatures, and she's turned into like a human rabbit thing. So after a little bit of that, we then cut over to our main character's family. We cut to the father and the mother who were featured in the movie's opening. And the mother slowly starts dying, and the only cure for it is for the father to have relations with her, apparently, or something like that. There's also this crow that has this British accent, and he's very snarky. He was probably the best character in the movie. He's voiced by David Firth. And yeah, he was easily the best character in the whole movie because he had like this not give a shit attitude, and they gave him like dry comedy. He was the Bill Murray of this movie. But at the end of the movie, the main boy is taken to see Cain, and Cain's a bit of an asshole, obviously. He just loves having power. He just loves ruling over these people with an iron fist and tricking them into believing that he's like a god among men with propaganda and ruling over them with these stormtrooper people who talk with like what sounds like voice alteration things back when the Xbox was first released. You know,
there's this thing called voice masking.
You can change your voice
to fit any game or mood.
What do you think about that?
The girl who was turned into a rabbit thing is killed off. She's shot in the head multiple times. Cain throws the boy off of the ledge, of his tallest tower, and then the boy's dad, who kind of becomes the main character halfway through the movie, just out of sheer loyalty, just swears his allegiance to Cain, and then the movie has this ending where it turns out that it's like pro-Cain propaganda being shown by this priest guy at the beginning. So I'll say this about this movie. It's better than Where the Dead Go to Die. Barely. First half an hour of the movie, or the first 20 minutes, actually had a story that I thought were interesting. And then after a while, it just kind of devolves into, you know, the same kind of shit that's in Where the Dead Go to Die. Kind of interesting character studies here and there. You know, we got the Crow character by David Firth, best character in the movie again. Honestly, this feels probably on par with Mr. Pickles. The animation reminded me a lot of Gaither's Pond, and if you saw my video on that, you know it wasn't good. The movie's like 2 hours long, so that's part of it. I would happily sit through this again over Where the Dead Go to Die, just again, mainly because this one had more of a consistent story, but even then, I feel like that's not really fair because Where the Dead Go to Die was 3 different stories. Looking back on Where the Dead Go to Die, if I can be fair to that movie in some regard, the stories got more interesting as they went. I know we didn't really highlight that in our original video.
What was with the faceless people? What the heck is happening? Oh, come on, man. Seriously? Now?
But anyway, yeah, as for this one, the first 30 minutes is interesting, and then after a while, it just kind of teeters and then just kind of sizzles out for me. So, yeah, one more time, I'll say it again. Better than Where the Dead Go to Die, but just barely. Well, thank you for watching our video. Oh, well, at least nothing too spooky or abnormal happened in this crossover review. It's not like this is set up for some kind of skit to end the video off or something.
And it will kill you, mister!
Shut up, scary jack-o'-lantern. Ain't nobody got time for your shit right now.
I'm sorry, man. I didn't really realize you were going through a thing like that.